Will Microsoft have another round of layoffs this month? Well, guys, I checked the Magic 8 Ball and all signs point to yes. The rumor has it that we can expect up to 11,000 to 22,000 roles eliminated this January. Guys, that's nearly 10% of Microsoft's workforce. And if we assume that these employees are making around 200,000 annually between salary and benefits, this move could save Microsoft up to $2 billion to $5 billion annually. But get this, while employees are getting axed, there is no sign of Microsoft slowing down on AI innovation. And hold that thought, we'll get to that in just a moment. Because what's interesting to me that despite Microsoft laying off all these employees, Microsoft at the same time has committed to upskilling 20 million workers in India. And we actually covered this in a video. I'd encourage you to check this out. It's really interesting how much the billions, tens of billions of dollars are being invested in India. So go check out that video. We covered that in detail. And I should also add that while companies like Microsoft are going and firing thousands of workers, and replacing them with AI, what they're often finding is that the AI isn't able to completely replace them. So what these companies are doing is they're firing W-2 employees, then going back and having to rehire. But what they're doing is they're not rehiring as W-2 employees, they're hiring as 1099 independent contractors. I covered this in a video too, because it's a really important distinction, guys, that you need to understand about how the workforce is shifting. You know, there's a lot of the pros and cons to being hired as a 1099 contractor as opposed to a W-2 employee. But if you don't know how to operate as a 1099 contractor, you're going to be flushing benefits and cash down the toilet when it comes to taxes and write-offs and things like that. I've been a 1099 contractor here for about 5 years now since I left my corporate insurance job. It could not be happier, but there is a learning curve, and maybe I'll get into that in a later video. Regardless, the point here is that Microsoft is going through another round of layoffs. Thousands, if not tens of thousands, of employees could get the axe. Now let's go into a little more detail here. The cuts are expected to hit in the third week of January, and the employees that are most likely to be effective are going to be employees working in the Azure Cloud, Xbox, and global sales. Those appear to be up on the chopping block for this round of layoffs. And while it's not confirmed, guys, just yet, it's not unprecedented. We covered this at length last year. Microsoft was churning and burning last year. They terminated over 15,000 jobs last year, and we covered this in detail. And by the way, guys, if you're here and you're interested in what's happening in the global market and how employees and employers are being impacted by AI, this is the time to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, and I'm bringing you a fresh video 6 days a week so you can know what's happening before everyone else. So thanks for hitting that subscribe button and staying tuned. So here's the deal, guys. We're seeing Microsoft lay off employees by the thousands, but they are not slowing down on AI. And that is what I think is a really important distinction here. They're betting hard on AI. In fact, in the first fiscal quarter of the year, the capex spending reached nearly $35 billion. And it's expected to surpass $80 billion in spend for fiscal 2026, which is higher than 2025. So are they slowing down on AI investment? Nope, not a chance. Think again, Batman. They're freeing up budget. They're freeing up space. They're probably going to be taking out cheaper loans and going all in. We covered this a couple days ago with what's happening with Venezuelan oil, and I'm not going to get into the politics of that. But one thing I can say, and we can say for sure, is that we're likely about to see oil prices decrease here, at least in the United States, because we're just seizing all the Venezuelan oil. So love it or hate it, it appears that's going to be happening. And with oil comes the ability to create all sorts of products. And I mean, if you were to lower the cost of oil-based products and companies like Microsoft increase the amount that they're spending, there could be a huge boom in construction. So anyway, I think that's an interesting thing to at least point out. But let's slow down a minute. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Where is this money going? They're going to spend $80 billion fiscal year 2026 on AI. Where's that money going? It's going to data centers, it's going to chips, and it's going to AI tools. And I covered this in a video a little while ago. I'll post a link to it here. Microsoft's database investments are skyrocketing. They are investing tens of billions of dollars in data centers, but not just in the US, they're investing heavily in other countries, specifically India. I think India is a really interesting one. Tons and tons of investment in India. I mentioned that they plan to upskill 20 million Indian workers, but they're also planning on building out these huge data centers in India as well. And again, you can check out that video for more details on that, but that is happening. We covered it. You follow the channel, so you know in advance, you know when things are happening, you're in the loop. Which, by the way, just a quick side note, I saw a comment the other day from someone who says, oh, this news is so 2023. But what I find is that when I go and have conversations at parties and people at the baseball field, most people have no idea that this is happening. It's like I don't quite get it. And, you know, while guys like you and me are in the loop and we understand what's happening with AI, with employment, with these big companies, most people have no freaking clue. And I gotta say, that's a dangerous place to be. My hope, my goal, people ask me this, Mark, what are you even doing here on YouTube? My goal on this channel is to wake guys up so we can remain relevant, respected, financially free, because a lot of people don't understand, a lot of guys don't understand the tsunami that's coming. And I just hope that we can kind of wake them up with these videos to say, hey, look, AI is coming, layoffs are coming, the entire global workforce is about to see a massive shift from W-2s to 1099s. If you don't know how to navigate this, if you're not aware that it's coming, you're gonna get sucked under the tsunami. So anyway, I feel like it's important for me to kind of bring this news. Another point on the Microsoft database investments, getting back on track, is when you go to their official website, it estimates and reflects that they want to build about 400 data centers globally. But I've got a buddy on the inside at Microsoft who works in their data center department. He says that number is actually closer to 1,000 data centers. So take that as your word, but you didn't hear, yeah, you did hear from me. Tell your friends. There are a lot of data centers that are going to be constructed, and the insider information says it's going to be closer to 1,000 data centers built. So axing employees, building out data centers. And again, let's just say here that now we're going to see these jobs get axed. But one thing that is important to note is that it appears that the roles tied to AI research, core AI cloud work, are seen as much more stable. And this makes sense because it reflects the company's commitment to staying highly competitive and a global leader when it comes to AI technology. And again, I mentioned this the other day, and I know some of you guys don't like to hear this. I know a lot of, I'm 42, a lot of 42-year-olds don't like to hear this, but I can't really overemphasize how important having AI literacy is going to be over the coming years. It is months even. It is absolutely crucial. In order to get hired for a job, I covered this in a video yesterday, in order to get hired for a job, employers are going to be asking themselves, well, why should I hire you over AI? And furthermore, when they hire you, if you're able to say, hey, you want to hire me because I'm going to be able to implement AI tools and strategies into your company, into your workforce. Almost, nearly 90% of companies want to use AI or are using AI already. So for you to get a jump into that company, you need to be able to speak the language. You need to understand how AI impacts your role. Because the reality is that Microsoft isn't alone. It's not alone. We've talked about this, guys. I feel like we cover this nearly every day. Every company is looking to streamline, automate, become more efficient. They want to trim the fat of human beings, and they want to leverage more AI. So again, whether you're an employee trying to get hired at a company, or you're an employer, or you're an independent contractor, you've got to be able to speak this language. Sales is, at the end of the day, what is sales? And sales is not just selling other people and buying your product, but sales is selling yourself. It's selling you. And understanding the problem of the person you're selling to is the most important, paramount, foundational part of selling yourself and getting someone to say yes. Listen, I don't know about you, But in 2026, I'm gonna stay focused personally on learning and mastering my craft, and specifically how AI impacts my craft, how AI can make me more efficient and more effective. And I'll give you one quick example. I don't know how to code, okay? I don't know how to code. My parents signed me up for CSS class 30 years ago, and I was learning how to do JSON and CSS or whatever the code was at that time, and I was like, I hate this. I'm 10 years old, I just want to be outside running and skating and playing football. I hate this. So I dropped out, didn't do it. I don't know how to code. But ChatGPT knows how to code. Gemini knows how to code. And what I've been able to do just over the past several weeks, working together with the software engineering team at a SaaS company that I work with, is I'm able to go in to the Metabase querying software that we use. So I can run queries against the database, and I can run specific questions using scripted code. And why am I able to do that? Because I can go into a program, specifically I'm using ChatGPT, and I say, this is what I want to find out. Run me the SQL query so I can run it against the database. And I'm learning so fast, and I'm getting so much valuable data. I'm becoming a much more valuable part of my organization. And again, this is just a simple example of investing in myself, investing in understanding the technology, investing in understanding stuff that, historically would have taken me let me put it this way. For me to run one successful query on the Metabase 2 years ago would have taken me hours, if not days. I would have probably had to hire outside consultants, maybe even hire a software developer to help me run these queries. Now, I've got a $20 a month subscription to ChatGPT, and I'm running these queries personally and getting results. And then when I go into leadership meetings, when I speak to the development team, when I look at where our clients are coming from and attribution, whatnot, I'm in marketing, I'm coming in much more informed, much more valuable to the organization. And that's where we need to be thinking, guys. If you're one of the 22,000 that's getting axed at Microsoft, this is what you need to be thinking about, because you're going onto the employment block, and please believe, going on Indeed, going on LinkedIn is a complete rabbit hole. You're not getting hired the same way you got hired in the past. I won't go into that. We've covered that in a lot of videos in the past. I don't want to get into that today, but what I will say is that you're gonna need to speak this language in the upcoming future. If you're not already speaking AI language, if you're not AI literate right now, if you don't know how to solve problems with AI, you're gonna fall behind more and more quickly, and it's gonna get rough, because the entire employment, the application, resume pipeline is completely been flipped on its head. Completely flipped. Just ask a recent graduate, ask someone who just graduated from college and they're trying to find a job. If you don't know someone, you ain't getting an interview. You certainly ain't getting hired. I have seen DM after DM after DM from guys just like you who have filled out hundreds of applications and still can't find a job because they can't get the interview. Here's the deal. Learn the tools, be public, and focus on the relationships that matter. And it might not matter to you today, but it might matter tomorrow. And when we talk about investments, when I think about investments, I'm not necessarily just thinking about investing in the stock market. I'm not just necessarily thinking about investing in Bitcoin. I'm thinking about investing in myself, in the education, and I'm thinking about investing in relationships that are gonna matter, that I can cash in when it's time. At any rate, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. And listen, if you wanna go deeper on this stuff, check out my newsletter, aiupdate.ai, totally free, aiupdate.ai. And if you liked today's video, you definitely want to check out yesterday's video. I go a little bit deeper on this stuff, and go check it out. It's right here. See you, boys. Peace.